What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. I wanted to take just a quick second to introduce the following video to you. This is something I recorded back in the spring after raising around 50 chickens. There was 43 of them to be exact. We lost a few in the whole process of raising them, but I pulled them around my front yard for around 8-9 weeks, fed them, raised them, and then of course we harvested the chickens. And so it's winter time now, and I wanted to show you that we still have a freezer full of meat. And just thank you for stopping by the channel. I know here at Live Hunting Company we do a bunch of things, not only hunting, but the channel is kind of, live hunt. Hunting is pursuing something. So we're always trying to get better as human beings and share our life experiences with you. And one of those experiences has to do with raising our own food in the terms of chicken. And it's good for all of us to be connected to and at least familiar with and know where our food comes from. When you go and buy a package of chicken, it just doesn't happen. Something had to lose its life for that to happen. And it's a difficult, heavy process, but it's a good process that we should all get familiar with. So looking over here in the freezer. So here it is, February now, and we still have meat. It was a little bit of work back in the spring, but now we're reaping the benefits from it. And rather than going to the grocery store every time we want chicken, we have these nice freshly packaged chickens down in the freezer. And then we have several of these left still. We've not went through all of them. So yeah, hope you learned something from this. If you're interested in getting some chickens yourself, or for whatever other reason, even if you don't do it, I think it's good for at least everyone to be familiar with this process. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing, liking our videos. It really does help. And check out some other content while you're here as well. And we hope you enjoyed this video. Grab it. Cross over. Cross over. There you go.
Ah! She's dodging you.
Grab her. She'll come right to you. Jump over and grab her. There you go. Now grab her right there. Get her. There you go. Did you get her now?
My first chicken I got is that. And let me say goodbye to her, Daddy, and hug her.
All right, say goodbye.
Bye-bye, Cheeky. I love you.
Bye-bye, Cheeky.
All right, guys. Well, we're down to the last chicken, and I wanted to film this whole process from here to in the cooler. And you may say, well, why would you want to show all this? And for a couple reasons. One, I want to document it, kind of like a video journal. And then two, I think it's if you choose to, well, all of us eat food, whether you choose to eat meat or you're vegetarian or vegan or whatever it is that you eat, you owe it to yourself and that thing, in this case the animal, to be a part of that process. I feel like at least that's my conviction. I feel like it's an important, the whole journey's been important for me, for Matt, for our families, for our kids, learning life, learning death, learning responsibility. There's a whole lot of different things that Everett's not making any better, just caressing the chicken. But there's a whole lot of lessons to be learned when you go through the process, and so we just wanted to walk through that. And I'll probably talk and kind of jabber around a little bit, but we're going to take you now. I'm just going to fair warn you right now, we're going to kill this chicken, and it's going to end up in the refrigerator. And if that's something you not want to watch, then you might want to turn this off. So we got a couple of stations just while we're here. It's a mess right now. This is our 43rd chicken. This is kind of our scalding station. We got a pot of water. It's right around 150 degrees. We'll put the chicken in that after we kill it to scald the feathers and the skin and get the feathers good and loose so that we can take the feathers off. Here's our kind of clean table where we finish the processing. And then we got a plucker over here. This has been a lifesaver This has been a lifesaver for us. It takes like 15-20 seconds to defeather a whole chicken, basically. So what you see is get the chicken out of. The chickens basically hung out in that the majority of their life. I just pulled them around my yard. It's super easy. We got them as chicks when they were a couple days old. They stay with us like in a little box until they got big enough, obviously, and I built that thing. Pulled that around. These are Cornish cross chickens, so they don't really need to fly up and roost or anything like that. They're fine in a real confined space together, and they just basically eat and grow. That's what they do. They literally like would lay down beside their feeder with their legs stretched out and eat. And so I've been pulling them around my yard for the past 4 or 5 weeks until they're about 5 pounds now. And that's kind of the goal weight. That gives you about a 4-pound clean bird. So again, this is a pretty gruesome looking spot. This is our harvest tree or kill tree. We got these cones here that kind of hug the chicken, and you'll see we turn them upside down. They don't necessarily pass out, but it kind of makes them a little delusional, if you will. And then you pull their heads through and give them a nice just clean kill. So.
Chicken wants you, Daddy. It doesn't want to be killed.
Nope, it probably don't, bud.
But we have to kill it though, because when chickens are 5 pounds, we kill them.
Yep. Now that chicken is completely dead right now. That's just electrical impulses that's still going on through the body. And you've seen it was, again, really quick. One swipe with a knife and it's over with. And these cones kind of keep the body in one place. And again, it's not pretty by any means, but you know, death is it's not a fluffy process. And you know, we live in a world that's we've been so far removed from the process of things. We go to the store, we get a nice little prepackaged thing of meat, and I'm not against that. I go to the store all the time. But I think it's important for us to also get to know the whole thing, like what goes on. And this may sound a little weird, but I guarantee you there's nobody on the planet right now that has a better respect for chickens than Matt and I. So this is a chicken after it's already passed, and we're gonna take it and do the rest of it. A 5-year-old he's amazed by this whole process, and I think it's good for kids to be exposed to this kind of thing rather than, you know, I don't know. I'm not saying we have all the answers, but
It's good to know where your food comes from, I guess.
it is. But again, like I was saying, you know, Matt and I, now every time we eat chicken, we'll have a much better appreciation. We have, you know, like 9 weeks invested into these birds. We raise them ourselves, and they're going to feed our families. And so it's a really sacred type of, like we said yesterday, it's a spiritual experience almost. So anyway, enough with all that. You basically put the old chicken in the water, again, about 150 degrees. We found that if you get it too colder than that or hotter than that, it either overcooks it or doesn't cook it enough. So 150 is kind of that magic number. We'll leave it in there for like 15 seconds. And when you see the legs, so they're not quite done, but the skin will start peeling off the legs really easily. That's kind of a telltale sign that the chicken's pretty much ready to pluck. So I think our temperature's probably dropped just a little bit, but that's okay. You can kind of fluctuate here and there, but okay, there we go. So again, like I was saying, you see that skin, it just kind of peels right off of there. Again, not pretty, but sorry if I'm repetitive in my words. Sometimes it's hard to put words into explaining kind of what we're feeling and what we're going through all this. So here's our plucker. It's basically a spinning wheel with these rubber nipples. and it looks crazy, it looks weird, but it makes plucking really easy. So you can see these feathers are really, they come out of there pretty easy now. We found that the hardest parts are the wings. Those feathers are a little bit tougher to get out. And so after that, you can spend a couple minutes like right here next to the leg. Usually that's a spot that's kind of hard for the plucker to get. At least for us it has been. But you can just take your hands and grab those and pull against the grain and get those feathers out of there. Same thing on the wings. You can see there's a couple spots here. Just grab those and each chicken's a little bit different depending on the temperature of the water and how long you let it sit in there. Sometimes it's all these come off really easy. Sometimes the majority come off. You only have to get a couple, and sometimes kind of like this guy, you're left with quite a few. But again, I don't know how long that took just now, but within about 30 to 45 seconds, you basically have a plucked chicken. So now we'll take this guy over here to our cleaning station. Get the water hose, kind of clean everything off. The first thing we do is basically cut the legs off, so when you bend it, there's a joint there. Just cut right through. And at this point, I just give it like a little walk through, just kind of making sure I got all those feathers. Doing this in the middle of summer is not ideal time for harvest because it's hot and there's bugs and everything everywhere, but that's part of it. So we want to do it in the spring because it's a little easier on the chickens as far as keeping them out of the cold weather and things like that. So here we are. Now we just got to basically gut it. The first thing you want to do is get kind of the crop area. If you around the neck, you can see this little kind of bulge there. If you get it and just cut, I've been cutting kind of just on both sides, and we're not experts at this by any means. There may be more efficient ways to do it, but we found this to be pretty good. And then you just kind of grab all that and with your hands just kind of pull it through. Separate the neck from the skin. I'll just come down here and cut that loose. There's the esophagus. You can kind of give that a little pull there too. And we cut the necks off to make a nice little package. And so there's the front part. Then you want to spin it around, and right here at the back of the breast, you have the old tutor here, and so above that you got this little bone. You just make a little cut there and just kind of stick your fingers in and kind of give it a pull down. It'll kind of loosen everything up. You basically reach your hand in there and feel around and break all those organs loose, and you actually just pull everything out. And we've been saving the livers here, so you can cut those off. With the liver is this little, actually it just popped right there. That's what you don't want to happen. It's like I'm not sure exactly what that's called. It's like bile or something like that, but anyway, that green stuff, you don't want that with your liver, so just make sure you clean that up. So around the tail here, you can basically make a V cut on each side. There's like a little nub, and pull everything down. Give it a little cut, and then there you go. And so the last thing to do, the lungs down in there, it's kind of hard to see, but the lungs don't come out near as easy, so I just take my knife and just kind of scrape those loose. Give it a little cut. And just reach in and kind of pull those loose. And at that point, you're all finished. We take the water hose, wash everything out really good, and that's essentially your finished product in terms of the cleaning process. Now the last step, we take these over in the cooler, and you can see we got a cooler full of chicken. We don't have this set up and ready to go just yet, or do we?
It's pretty, check the temperature on it. I turned it on.
Okay.
It's probably pretty close.
So the last step is to package your chicken. And so what we will do now is basically take those chickens, we'll pat those up really nice, get them good and dry, put them down in a plastic bag, dip them in water that's about 190 degrees, 195 degrees, and that'll seal that bag up and you zip tie it closed. We still got to get our towels and stuff ready for that final process, so I'm going to show you what that end results looks like, and then I'll get back with you when we get ready there. So this is your end product. You have a nice package. You can see the bird is sealed up in there, and that'll last a couple of years in the freezer. It won't last us that long, but basically that's it there. And so we've got several done. We have one more to clean and to process, and then we're going to take all these that's in the cooler, get them into bags, and get them sealed up. This last part is pretty simple. You just put them in the bag and dip them and seal them. Again, I just wanted to for myself, kind of do like a video journal so I can look back when I do this and remember how to do it. And then also, you know, this is our first time doing it, and if you yourself can't do something like this, of course, I think a lot of times we make excuses for everything we don't want to get into just because it may be difficult. You know, you can see I don't have a big yard at all. I got a little dog that's got loose there. And I've made this work. We started with 50 chickens. We lost 7 of them throughout the process as babies and things. But yeah, just pulling around my front yard and raised them up. I don't have a big farm. I got a little garden over here as well that we do. And so, but if you don't have that, if you know, whatever, you know, you don't want to do that, you know, at least this video, maybe you can watch it and kind of see the process of behind the scenes. And this is, again, we're not a big corporation or company. You know, this is not Tyson Meats. This is just in the backyard. So we're still processing and everything. I told Matt that I almost need to sit down and kind of journal about this whole thing, because it's a lot to think about. You know, taking something's life to feed your family. It's a heavy thing to do, for sure. But I'm glad we're a part of that. We make the choice to eat meat, and so we want to be fully responsible and be involved in that whole process. And doing that. So, all right, guys and gals, we are here. The last part, we drained the cooler of the first set of water we had in it, just to kind of put some fresh and clean. So we got all of our chickens in there. Got a long way to go still. Now this part is pretty easy. So you just bring your chicken over here, kind of give it a final look over, make sure there's no hairs you missed. And you want to pat it off good and dry. When you freeze it, you don't want a bunch of water to be on the chicken and kind of freeze up and create freezer burn and all that stuff. So you pat it good and dry. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but after that, we have these. I got these from Amazon. Texas poultry shrinking bags is what they're called. Plastic bag with a zip tie. We also have this tube here. Kind of put the chicken in there. I noticed a couple little feathers there, little hairs. Put the chicken in with kind of legs up. slide it down into kind of one corner. My grandparents are here. Put this tube down in there. That allows air to escape so that can get a nice, good, tight seal. But you basically have this. You twist it up. Apologize for all the noise and the dogs and everything else. Put your zip tie around it here. And you bring it over to your water, which is, it's about 195 degrees. Is what they recommend. Just take it, dip in there for, we've been doing about 6-7 seconds, somewhere like that. And you take it out, and the bag will continue to kind of shrink up. And then you pull your tube out, cinch it down, and that's your final product. A nice chicken that has been, whatever the process is. These bags we're amazed by them. It just sucks the air out of them. And you have this nice, clean chicken. So going from what you've seen earlier, the little boy in the cage running around trying to catch a chicken, to this. And this will feed our families. We're extremely grateful to those chickens. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a heavy thing to do. It's a long process. There's a lot of work involved. It's messy, but totally worth it. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you gained something from it. If you're an expert at this, you can comment below and tell us what we did wrong. Our system that we had, it's worked pretty well for us. I'm sure there's things we could do differently to make it easier on ourselves, but for the most part, it's been a pretty good process. It's been really good, and a lot of things going on in my mind right now, in my heart, that I'll continue to process. But I don't mean to be like too poetic or too deep, but it really is a heavy thing. So anyway, there we go, our chicken.